What's good, everybody? Back with another Fair Shake review. This time we're going to be talking about Ebony Tusks' debut album, Heal Thyself. Now, Ebony Tusks is a group that's been around for a while. I've heard a few tracks like before they finally were getting ready to release this project, this long-awaited album, and I'm mainly somewhat familiar with their basically their vocalist, Marty, and I've definitely got to see him perform, like on videos and stuff. And I'm somewhat just getting used to his style is something that drew me to try and check out the rest of the music, and it is a little bit more on the experimental rap side. And so I knew that going into the project, and so I just knew that there'd probably be a lot of interesting production, some that is set to make you rage, but also written in a way where if you're really paying attention, that you would really come out with something to really think about and ponder on, because Marty is also just a straight up poet as well. And so when it comes like to production, like this is definitely not your typical hip hop. This is definitely way more on the experimental, kind of like noise, rap side of things, kind of along the lines of like clipping. I know Death Grips does stuff that's kind of like this. It's not a style that I listen to a lot, but I do definitely appreciate it, the experimentation and trying to do something different, and it, exceeds expectations, and kind of what's the real phrase I'm trying to think of, subverts expectations of what is expected from hip hop artists. And but yeah, so the production on this is really cool. There's definitely some interesting beats that really give you that kind of noisy, sometimes glitchy, not that much glitchy, but really loud, noisy, like brash, in your face sound. Or sometimes it could be a little bit more like cavernous and haunting. Like you could definitely get that in the production with Hell Above or Here Below. Also, with Air Apparent, you get like this really long, beautiful cello intro. I know that cello was done with Brell Watson, a very good friend of mine, and I was happy to see them collaborating, since these artists are based around Topeka, Kansas, Lawrence, Kansas, and Kansas City, Missouri, Kansas. I'm not sure which side, but just that whole area of the state. So, like to hear that, and then they eventually kind of like manipulate the sample of his cello playing to make the rest of the Heir Apparent beat as well. So like beat wise is very interesting. But the thing is, there's like only like a few that I feel like some people would be like, oh yeah, I can kind of feel the groove through this, like kind of like a normal, it sucks to say normal hip hop, but typical hip hop, like I feel like Schuyler, I don't know how to pronounce it, and I feel Alpha Dog a little bit does that, and U Runner and Gang Signs. I think think I think Gang Signs is the one that I think probably would be like the most easy to just like, oh, I get this, and it's just nice, big and noisy. It's just a big sound that you can just kind of like, yeah, and just like get mad hype to. But content wise, when it comes to like what like where Marty really shines when it comes to like the lyrics and the rapping, you could tell he's very talented in the technical aspect, and also in the way he writes. It's you really could tell he's a very intelligent human being. His vocabulary is insane. The way he decides to paint these pictures and metaphors, or the scenes in such a very interesting way. It's like he like for sometimes his writing will give you all the different surroundings of like what the scene basically he's trying to describe, and then what you're left like what's left missing in the middle is what he's talking about, but he never says it directly, or he'll say it very direct, and it may just be like talked about in like words you may have to look up. Like, to be completely honest, I didn't feel it would be right for me to review this off of just listening to it through it a couple times. What I needed to do is make sure that at least one of the times that I listened to the project, I was sitting there reading the lyrics while listening, because to truly like understand everything that he's saying, knowing him being the poet laureate that he is, that Marty is, and Ebony Tusks is, it would just be damaging in my review to not fully try and understand the points that he's bringing out. And a lot of it kind of has to deal with society, authenticity, the way people can look at inner city youth, and the way we look at the issues that we go through in connection to religion, and like there's so much. It's like the way these songs are, it's very dense, and so it pains me to say that it's very difficult for me to recommend this to people. I would have to definitely know that they are into this style of hip hop, because this is like one of those, for lack of a better word, cult sides of hip hop, where there is definitely a gigantic scene of people who do this more experimental kind of hip hop. Like I would like basically end up saying, entry level into this side of like hip hop would be like Run the Jewels, and that is extremely accessible to me when it comes to like the more off kilter yet very lyrically dense, and like a lot of social commentary, stuff like that. Like, because LP can get in that kind of box sometimes, and then Killer Mike will be more direct with a lot of the way he writes. But that is like to me like the most accessible version of like that alternative experimental hip hop side of the scene. And then you can head over to people like Clipping and Death Grips and stuff like that. And I feel like those are the main ones that I have kind of like lent my ear to. That's why I keep making the comparison to those two groups, because those are the ones that I've heard like little bits and pieces from, that I'm like, oh, so it's like this. It's like, I respect it very, very much, because they're very talented in the things that they do, including Ebony Tusks. The things that they do, like musically, is very, very daring and interesting, and sometimes it's really great to my ears. But other times it's like I appreciate it, I just don't think I would listen to it very often. So some of the highlights for me was hearing some of these features on here with Connie Franco, IK. I get this. Let me see if I can get the full list on here. But it has Chris Kopp, Stick Figure, Nigel Williams. I'm just guessing because I can't see the full name right now. That track with Hell Above and Here or Here Below had some really interesting different approaches on there as well, while tackling kind of like their own struggles in that, and people who have watched me before know I'm big on Stick Figure too, who's also from Topeka, close friend of Marty's, and I guess probably even the rest of the Ebony Tusks crew, and so to hear that collab happen, I've never got to hear them rap together before outside of like some cipher thing, which means they weren't really rapping together, they just happened to be in the same place. But like to hear them work together on a track was very interesting, and so yeah, that was dope. But some standouts, in my opinion, the tracks that I know that I will be listening to a whole lot will be Schuler. The ones that are a little bit more accessible, You Runner and Gang Signs. I really love those three. I Chuck D's, it was a dope single. They have a music video for that, and then I don't know if it's Saint or Street, but that was a dope track. The acapella track Televangelist was very powerful because it's just straight Marty just breaking down facts on that junk. And then also the closing track Punks Jump Up is also a really great closer as well. But yeah, there's a lot to try and ruminate over and mull over and really try and pick apart in here, because the writing is just so dense, and yeah. So if you are deep into that side of hip hop, I would definitely recommend it. If you are thinking of seeing what it's like, I wouldn't be. I would say, hey, if you like, check it out. There might be a couple of songs in here that you enjoy. Just know ahead of time it is going to test your ear and what you can enjoy. I have a very wide taste, which is why I can appreciate a lot of it, and also pull out a few songs that I will listen to repeatedly. But that's it. That's my thoughts. Tell me what you guys thought if you ended up checking it out. And until next time, much love, peace, threes.